Joined live by Malta's Prime Minister, Joseph Muscat. He's live in Malta's capital of Valletta at that conference. Thank you for joining us. There are those who are saying that this conference is a little bit of a sideline because the problem, as we've just been hearing, the nub of the problem is people coming out of the Middle East rather than the people coming from Africa that this conference is focusing on.
Well, just 6 months ago it was the other way around, really and truly. And I think whoever argues in that manner is not understanding that we're facing a phenomenon that might morph from time to time, but it is a phenomenon that we have to address together as Europe, but also with other continents. And I think that rather than waiting another crisis coming from Africa, coming from Somalia, from Eritrea, from the other countries, we need to get our act together now. And that's what we're trying to do right now. And I believe this is a very important step forward. It's not a solution, it's not a be-all and end-all, but it's definitely a very important first step forward.
As far as you can tell, what is the mix of the people that have been coming to your country, Malta, the migrants?
Well, I think rather than just Malta, I think what we're seeing right now is a totally different mix than we were used to. So it's Syrian people coming to Europe, Afghan people coming to Europe, Pakistani people using the routes that were previously used by other migrants. But, you know, nationalities might change, but the phenomenon remains the same. And what we're trying to do right now and what we're advocating is to set up a partnership with our African partners. And I think it can serve as a blueprint for other partnerships in the near future. And I believe that, for one, we have moved on from the realization that from a national state point of view, we're now addressing it in a regional point of view. Now we need to address it, I believe, from a global perspective.
Does it amount to paying some countries, or some of whom may be pretty unsavoury, effectively to keep their citizens at home and stop them travelling on the seas?
I think that's very dismissive in the way one looks at it. First of all, there are a number of principles we should agree to, and we agree to. First of all, saving people's lives, giving asylum, granting asylum to all those who qualify, but then turning back and sending back to their countries those who don't qualify for asylum. And yes, helping with a more for more approach those countries, those African countries, or rather those countries of origin, who agree taking back people who don't qualify for asylum, agreeing not to torture them, for example, agreeing to safeguard their human rights, but effectively taking back the people who need to be sent back. So this is a humane approach on one side, but a very practical approach on the other side. Europe wants to help. Europe is trying to do its bit. Yes, we're divided. Yes, we're not there yet. But we're the only group of countries that's trying really to do something. On the other hand, it cannot be a free-for-all approach. It cannot be an open-door policy where anyone can come without rules. There are clear rules that need to be respected. Obviously, there is a problem that the current rules in Europe are they cannot be applied right now in the modern context of migration flows. So what we need is a new set of rules, I would argue, and I have argued, a new set of global rules with institutions and with ways and means in which to tackle crisis, but also to provide legal ways in which people can cross from one country to another.
How successful has Malta been in sending people back to their country of origin?
Well, it's always an issue. It's always an issue mostly because those people who don't qualify for asylum would tear up their documents. They wouldn't tell you where they're coming from. And there's always an issue with the countries of origin to take them back because they will tell you, prove that they are our citizens. So there is a European document which we need to beef up. We need to strengthen its recognition by countries of origin, and that's exactly what we're discussing right now in the action plan with Africa, in order that once you are fairly positive that a certain person comes from a certain country where it's safe to send him or her back, they need to be sent back and they need to be accepted back.
What's your feeling? Obviously, it's a very, very difficult question from the relative comfort of a European country, but what's your feeling? I mean, of the big flow of people coming into Europe now, what proportion of them, how many do you think, within the rules and the values which you respect, should be allowed to stay here?
I don't think it's a matter of setting a number, a magic number. If you get people fleeing from war in Syria, you have to accept them all, because they are people fleeing from war, and honestly they don't want to stay in Europe. They want to go back once the war is over. They want to go back to their home country. Then there are other people from other countries that are, in a legitimate manner, looking for a better future, but if they're doing so, they should use the legal ways of coming to Europe, and they have their application. They might be accepted, they might not be accepted.
And as far as Malta, as a member of the European Union, are you now, I remember talking to you a few months ago and you really felt you weren't getting the support you needed from the other member states and from the EU. Are you getting that support now?
It's getting better. I think there is a new realization that this is not something that any country can do on its own. There is also a realization that this is not a Mediterranean problem. The fact that there now are new routes through the Balkans, new routes that are affecting directly Central Europe, it has dawned on many people and on many countries that there needs to be a European solution, or at least a European approach to this phenomenon.